I'm Rob from Legacy Products Sliding Ragtops. We're building the sliding ragtop to go in the Suburban for Trey 5 and Mickey. It's going to be a really big top. We're doing like 48 by 102 inches. Basically, the purpose of doing a sliding ragtop is you're able to open an entire roof. You're able to get a much larger sunroof than you would with any other traditional glass sunroofs. So laying out a ragtop on the Suburban behind us, what we're basically going to do is we're going to determine center and how wide and how long we're able to go on the top. We don't want the roof to get off too far into the curvature of the sides or dive off to the front or back glass. We want it basically to stay centered in the flattest section of the roof, allowing us to peel it open without having any kind of fitment or leak issues, taking into consideration where the doors are, the glasses, the roof, where the back folds are gonna lay out, and all the aspects that make the top fit and look the best. You don't want your stuff blowing off the back looking silly. It's imperative that we do it right. We gotta get it square, we gotta get it right. There's no do-overs when you're putting a 48 by 100 inch hole in a vintage Suburban.
This motherfucker's off an 1/8 of an inch over here.
What?
I don't know what you're doing over here. Good thing I get paid by the hour.
I don't get paid at all.
All right guys, we're over here at Accessory Partners, home of Legacy Products. I'm gonna go over what it takes to build that big, giant 69 Suburban's ragtop, the 48 by 102. I'm gonna take you through all the steps and lay it all out for you. One of our first steps here is we're gonna use our fully laser cut CNC fixture to center pin the headers. Make sure that they're completely square. That way every step of the top lines up perfectly, fits perfectly. The next fixture is gonna go ahead and set up our cap mount points. These points are crucial. They have to be exactly right. Flip it around, do the same thing again. Allows us to keep 100% accuracy every top, every time. Next step is getting the center of the latch mounted. This step right here is going to be what determines where our latch is. Make sure it's 100% centered. That way there's no crazy off-center handle. Everything looks real nice when you're sitting in the car looking up. Our next step here, we'll use our ring roller to go ahead and lay out the curvature of our header. We match the curvature of the header to the front and rear frames. Like on the Suburban build, we actually had patterns off the roof. So we took those measurements, determined where we needed to set this all up at. That way we can get it as close to that curve and contour as possible. So what we're gonna go ahead and do here now is we're gonna use our Enco mill, which is single operation. This is what we use to mill our latch slot. This is one of the things that has to be completely centered perfect every time. Everything's fully machined, ready to roll. Some light deburring, a little bit of finishing. Either be sent it off to sandblasting or send it off to powder coat from this point, and then we'll be off to assemble it. One of the main pieces of the structure of the ragtop itself is going to be the stretcher bow. And we got to make sure that these 3 points are exactly in the right spot every time. It's what's going to keep everything nice, square, and aligned, and the backbone of everything looking perfect. So we walk you through some of the most common, crucial steps. The rest of all the parts that are built here are all individually built on individual machines with individual fixtures. There's no setup, there's no tear down of fixtures every time we build a part. We're able to do single operation on its own machine. That way every part's exactly the same every time. Here's another one of our specialty pieces of equipment. This machine is designed just to roll radiuses in the stretcher bows themselves. We've got a setup for the early buses, our standard tops, and as well as our vintage Volkswagens. As you can see, it takes a regular piece of bar stock, knocks it out to our common curve. Anthony's gonna go ahead and show you one of our favorite processes. It's helped us save a ton of time and make the parts look really nice. Our Penn Serger. What it does is it's actually gonna press in 10-30 seconds clinch studs into multiple operations and multiple parts for us, allowing us to go ahead and use nuts and washers only and no bolts. More of a factory style finish. After you're all finished up with this, what it allows us to do is leave a really nice, super smooth finish that doesn't show in our upholstery, as well as have a really bitchin' little stud that we're able to tighten up and not have any hardware show. This is a clean side of the shop. This is where all the parts come together after the fabrication's been done. It's where we're gonna go ahead and final assemble everything and get it ready to go out to the customer. As you saw a minute ago, Anthony was pressing in our clinch studs into our front and rear caps. They are CNC laser cut and then formed on a CNC press brake. Penn studs are actually pressed into these as well, and they're what's gonna mount the cap to the header. So that's what's gonna allow the top to give it shape and its functionality. Here's the culmination of all the parts that we've been building so far. As you can see, the cap that we just finished up as well as all the stretcher bows and stretchers. This is what essentially makes the skeleton of our tops. This is where we put everything together, get it ready for final assembly, move it onto upholstery, and let those guys do their magic. All of our tops at Legacy Products are fully sewn and upholstered in-house. Julio, our main dude, knocks them out. Laser straight stitches, perfect every time, just the guy for the job. One of the cool things about our tops is they're not only black, you can actually get a bunch of cool colors. Red, greens, blues, sparkle vinyls, we have them all. After the skeleton's all done, put our canvas on, we've stretched the canvas, they're glued, wrapped, fully upholstered, about ready to go out. Let me show you some of the fit and finish work on this that makes Legacy Products different than some of the old tops you may have seen back in the day. Looking at the bottom side of the top now that we flipped it over, you'll see where all those pieces went, why it's so important for us to get everything straight, perfect, cut right the first time, as well as see the upholstery work. Our new frames are actually a 4-piece design. They use a locating L bracket. That's what keeps everything square. It also works as a reinforcement on the inside of the roof, keep the roof from tearing back off of the hard corner. Tops are fully squared up, perfect when it leaves. Now we're ready to go ahead and get this top broke down, packaged, and ready to go out to the customer. As you can see, it's not the top for the Suburban. This one's a whole lot smaller. The one for the Suburban's actually already back over at the guys at Tray 5, so let's go check it out, watch them cut a huge hole in that roof, and get it off to SEMA.